Welcome to Justice for New York. My name is Char Collins. My website is www.justicefornewyork.com and my email address is justicefornewyork@aol.com. Cuomo, Gillibrand, and Schumer versus Supreme Court Judge Kavanaugh. All you heard during the process was from the Democrats, especially Schumer and Gillibrand, that he's going to take away people's rights. Yet, they did not produce, even though he's got thousands of court rulings out there, they couldn't produce one ruling where he took away the rights of anybody. But they keep arguing he's going to. The Democrats use lies and fear-mongering to get what they want. They don't care who they go after or what they do or what the truth is. They had no proof. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. These three. On the other hand, you have the Democrats taking away our constitutional and statutory rights. Cuomo, Schumer, and Gillibrand refuse to do anything about it. They know about it, but they won't do anything about it. The New York State Court of Appeals, that's New York State's highest court, with all judges being appointed by liberal Democrat Mario Cuomo. They were all, at that time there were 6 of them, there's normally 7. Were all appointed by Mario Cuomo. This is what the Democrats are doing. Deliberately violated a person's constitutional right to have their appeal heard by the New York State Court of Appeals. Under the law, under the state constitution and state statute, if the only issues on appeal are the constitutionality of state statutes, you can go directly to the Court of Appeals and they are required to hear it. Not with the Democrats in control. I filed it. I stated the only issues on appeal are the constitutionality of 12 state statutes that deprive people of their right to a public trial, their right to a jury trial, a right to a court of proper jurisdiction, just to start with. They stated I raised issues other than the constitutionality of state statutes. Total lie. Matter of fact, on my website, Scoop 56 is $5,000 to anybody who can state and document what other issues I raised on my appeal directly to the Court of Appeals that was denied by the Democrat-appointed judges. All of them denied my appeal, stating I raised something else. So if they claim it's there, I'm willing to bet $5,000 nobody can come up with it, because that's how corrupt the Democrats are controlling the New York State Court of Appeals. They refuse to address the constitutionality of 12 state statutes that violate either the New York State and or the United States Constitution. Read them. As I said, there's $5,000 involved to the first person. They support the illegal imprisonments of fathers and mothers in illegally closed courtrooms. How would you like to go in, you're facing imprisonment, and nobody's allowed in the courtroom? It's you, your attorney, your ex's attorney, and the judge, and it's closed. You're denied your right to a jury trial. You have to look at the entire potential sentence. They like to go, well, it's only 6 months in jail, therefore you're not entitled to a jury trial. That is patently false. You have to look at the other onerous penalties that they have put on it, such as taking away your driver's license, sequestering your property. You can't get a passport. There's a number of issues, and there's case law to support everything I'm stating on my website. They support the illegal deprivation of a litigant's constitutional or statutory right to a jury trial. This is not a they ruled this is not a substantial right. The right to a jury trial is not a substantial right. Your right to a public trial before you're in prison is not a substantial right. I'd like to know what their definition is of what a substantial right is. I'll bet they won't tell you. They support a person who is not a judge holding a trial in a closed courtroom, determining if someone should be sentenced to jail or not. In other words, you're not entitled to have a judge. What New York State has done is appointed hearing examiners that violate the New York State Constitution. They determine support issues, including contempt of support issues. So here you are going in before a judge, or excuse me, a support magistrate, because they're not judges. They make it sound like they are, but they're not. Chances are that support magistrate is also the one that issued your order, and you're going to be tried by him for violating his order. Gee, I wonder how he's going to rule. Do you think he's really going to state, yeah, my order doesn't comply with the law? I will tell you from experience, in all the orders I've seen, I would say 70% or more do not comply with the statute. That's right, 70% don't. And they're not in favor of the person paying. I've only seen one or two that have been in favor of the person paying. 99.8% are in favor of the other person receiving the support. They're ordered to pay more than is required under state law. They support the violation of a child's constitutional right to a jury trial when facing detention in a state institution. If anybody knows anybody that has a child that's been convicted, had a trial in family court, in a closed court proceeding, I'd like to talk to them. Because to me, they're being denied. The U.S. Constitution says 6 months or more than 6 months, more than 6 months in jail, you are entitled to a jury trial. There is no age limit. The U.S. Supreme Court has already held that a child is entitled to their constitutional right to counsel in these proceedings, where they face detention. It's the same thing as jail, except it's a little different, but it's basically the same. They're taken away from their parents. They are under state control. They do what the state tells them to do. I would love to do a petition arguing that that child's right, constitutional right to a jury trial was violated. Why are they taking away children's rights? Now, I will argue, I will state, I do understand having the courtroom closed dealing with children. That's not the same as a jury trial. Jury trials are different. It could still be closed, but a jury hears the matter instead of a judge. And I will tell you, from what I've seen, these judges, the law guardians and stuff, they're not there to protect the children. Give you a perfect example. Had a father whose son always wanted to live with him. The judge kept saying, no, 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 you're not living with your father. All of a sudden, the child decides, well, started getting into some trouble and ended up back in family court. The father, the mother, and the law guardian finally worked out a deal where the child would go live with the father. The child, they then go before the judge, Your Honor, we worked out a deal. The judge, do you have anything to say to the child? The child said the wrong thing to the judge. You know what he said? Thank you, Your Honor, for letting me live with my father. It's the only thing I've ever wanted. You're going to juvie. The child got sent to St. Coleman's home for a year. At the end of the year, they kept him. He stayed in there for another 6 months. Now, why would he stay there another 6 months? He wasn't 16 yet. He was only about 15 and a half. He didn't want to go back to live with his mother. Spending more time in detention was better than going home to live with his mother. Now, my argument is that child would never have started getting into trouble if the judge had allowed him to get to live with his father. He was doing it out of spite. He wanted to live with his father. This is why these courtrooms are not there to protect the children. The law guardians aren't there. Why didn't the law guardian file an appeal of that ruling? They support child abuse by judges, law guardians, and social workers. I have a number of issues. I even have one on my website. You can read all these you want. Social worker, judge, a mandated reporter, or a psychologist read a 14-year-old girl's essay she did for a class. Wrote a letter to the two heads of the Department of Social Service, and I forget who else it was. It's on the website. Neither one of them did anything, and yet he stated this child was in imminent danger because of the actions being taken against her and the threats being made against her because she wanted to live with her father by the judge, the law guardian, and the social workers. Nobody is protecting the children. They don't care. Cuomo, Schumer, and Gillibrand don't care. But by and George, they will fight for illegal immigrants coming into this country, but they won't fight for the children in this state. We don't need it. Like, somebody needs to stand up and do something to protect our children. And don't think your child can't be next. So, vote Republican. Let's make America great. Let's make New York great. Let's protect our constitutional rights. Let's protect our children. Thank you.